3 years ago, 125 pounds. Thinking about God, and this is the first time I feel like I really prayed in a long time, Alex Eubank started following me. I went from being on the floor, couldn't eat, to finally feeling good, feeling gratitude, and meeting one of my heroes in the fitness space. Only God could have done this. Close to 40K. I'm gonna tell you the story of how I changed my life through fitness and my faith in Jesus Christ. 3 years ago, I was 5'11", 125 pounds. I was always known as the skinniest kid, whether that was in school, being made fun of by my peers, teammates on the basketball team, or even my own uncle had a 4th of July cookout who told me to eat a cheeseburger. I bet you've probably heard that one as a skinny kid. But anyways, now I'm roughly 6 feet, 180 pounds, and I'm going to tell you the story of how I changed my life through fitness and my faith in Jesus Christ. This isn't a victim story, but simply my experience about being skinny and being made fun of. This all kind of started in middle school. I was always the skinny kid. Kids would call me anorexic. I've gotten choked out at behind a baseball field and just kind of felt helpless, like I couldn't defend myself simply because I was not strong enough. I've had friends jokingly throw me into a pool, literally swung me like a hammock, and again, I couldn't even fight back. Looking back, these are all hilarious to me. These are character builders, but this is kind of just where it started for me, where I realized wow, I don't like being skinny. Being skinny isn't a bad thing, but when you get made fun of a lot for it, you tend to find your identity in how you look and in your weight, and that started happening to me at a very early age. I really struggled with gaining weight. I used to really blame it on having a fast metabolism, or, oh, I'm eating so much, but I just can't gain weight. A lot of this was excuses, but there is some merit to it. I was a very active kid, and genetically speaking, I was skinny. My dad graduated the police academy at about 5'11", 140 pounds. I voiced my struggles to my mom, and she even decided to hire a nutritionist. One time, it was time for the appointment, and my mom had the computer on the kitchen counter, and I was upstairs in my room because I didn't want to talk to this lady. The whole idea of gaining weight just gave me anxiety, and so I wouldn't come down, and my mom screamed, "Get down here, I'm gonna effing kill you." And the nutritionist, her eyes lit up like this, like, oh my gosh, because my mom was just like, you're voicing me your struggles, but you're not taking advantage of the resource that I'm trying to give you. So now on to high school. I've always played basketball my whole life. That was my main sport, and I made the freshman basketball team as a freshman. And I also noticed that kind of being physically weak was kind of showing up in basketball as well. I would get pushed around a lot, and as a guard, even just trying to protect the ball, it was a bit of a difficulty for me. I was just super frustrated. So this is kind of when I decided to finally start hitting the weights. My dad offered to buy me a Smith machine, and one summer, it was the summer after sophomore year of high school, so going into my junior year, we decided to build a Smith machine in my basement. This was our huge summer project, and this was honestly probably the best decision of my life. So we finally built it, and that's when my dad kind of showed me how to kind of use certain equipments like a lat pull down, tricep push down, things like that. And for some reason, I just really fell in love with the gym because it was just a great outlet for me. It was a way, maybe after a basketball game where maybe I didn't perform well or the coach didn't play me, I could go down there and kind of just let my frustration out on the weights. And also I felt good physically, I felt good emotionally, and I knew that I was finally going to be able to put on some weight and some muscle and some size in general. Going into junior year, this is when I had been lifting for a whole summer. I kind of thought I was a big shot, not because I was super jacked, but because I did feel a little spark of confidence, right? People, when you start working out, you get what's called the noob gains, just those kind of quick gains. I got injured playing basketball. I think it was a calf injury or something. And the trainer said to me, he was like, "Buddy, you got to start hitting the gym." I told him, I was like, "Oh, I have been, you can't tell." And he straight up said to me, he was like, "No, I can't." That was super discouraging for me. But that's when I kind of realized that diet and eating more and being in a caloric surplus is super important for us skinny guys and trying to bulk up, right? Especially if we have a fast metabolism or whatever, we need to be eating enough. Then senior year, people kind of noticed I was putting on a little bit of size, but nothing really significant happened then. I still didn't have a ton of confidence in myself. Still didn't see a ton of progress, but I definitely started really falling in love with the gym. And honestly, I didn't even want to play basketball my senior year, but I did it. Going into my freshman year of college, I was living in a dorm. My dorm was literally a 1-minute walk from the campus gym, so that was super convenient. I had an unlimited meal plan. So with these resources, I had super high expectations for myself to just get as many gains as possible, just get super jacked. I had one mission and I was dead set on it. It was like tunnel vision. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to put on size. I'm going to have all this confidence. People are finally going to like respect me and like me. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, at such a young age, I placed my value, I placed my identity in the way I looked. A lot of people joke on social media about like body dysmorphia and stuff like that, but this is something I really struggled with. Like I had friends at the time who I was like way bigger than freshman year, and they would always like hype me up or give me compliments, but I still didn't believe it because when I looked in the mirror, I still saw the skinny kid. I still was insecure. During this time, though, is when I finally started getting female attention. Again, I was told growing up I was like a decent looking kid, but finally getting girl attention, I was like, wow, like I've never gotten this. And I attributed all of that to the way I looked. I would hit the dining hall like 4 to 5 times a day. I was honestly probably getting super annoying to some of my friends because any chance I got, I would ask them, dude, let's go to the dining hall. And it was like an all you can eat buffet, literally. So I took advantage of that, but this kind of led me to developing like a binge eating disorder. Like not really, but kind of. Like I would just stuff myself to where I felt sick because again, I had one mission and nothing was going to stop me. With school, it wasn't super stressful, but being away from home and, this new transition in my life was definitely a bit anxiety inducing. And the gym, again, was my outlet. But as much as the gym can be healthy, it's a healthy tool. And yes, it is a great outlet. I started kind of abusing the gym. I started kind of abusing my body because, again, any chance I could get, I was at the gym for way too long. 2 hours. I was overtraining. I was overeating. And honestly, my body just couldn't take it. Finally, I think this was like winter break, if I can recall. And me and my cousin, we went to hit a lift. And I was ego lifting, trying to like hit a PR on bench. And I ended up bouncing the bar off my chest and feeling a crack in my sternum. And this was honestly one of my first major lifting injuries where, my injury kept me out of the gym. During this time I was kept out of the gym, I felt lost. I felt a void in me. I felt something missing. I didn't know what my identity was in now that I didn't have the gym, now that I didn't have that outlet. I didn't know who I was. This led to what I like to call the crash out of my life where I just, was dealing with anxiety, depression because I didn't know what my purpose was. I hated the way I looked. I hated not having confidence. Despite, what people said, whether they gave me compliments, none of it mattered. I couldn't make eye contact with people. I couldn't hold conversations. I definitely struggled with lust, all those things. Again, I just felt empty. So after kind of like feeling that void inside me, this is kind of where things really changed for the better in my life. This video is not supposed to be a huge testimony story of coming to God, but I remember prior to getting injured and going to like the dining hall with one of my buddies. He's a Catholic. Shout out to him, Gianni, if you're watching. I just remember I would always ask him like, oh, did you go to church on Sunday? Because I knew he was like a pretty devout Catholic and that he would go to church on campus. And for some reason, I would just always ask him about it. And that's looking back now, I know that was kind of the Lord knocking on my heart, right? We know that God speaks in a still small voice, right? And we know that he's a gentleman and he knocks at your door. We just have to open it. But those were kind of the hints where I really felt, God kind of calling to me. And I just remember being home one weekend because I was going home a ton on weekends. I forgot to mention this, but the reason the gym was my outlet is because I don't party. I've never really been into drinking. I don't smoke. I don't vape, none of that. And the school I go to is a huge Greek life school. It's Greek life oriented. So again, I needed some type of outlet. So that's why the gym was my outlet. But anyways, that's kind of just the backstory for what I'm getting into here. I was in the shower and for some reason I was just like thinking about God. And this is the first time like I feel like I really prayed in a long time, right? Again, I got baptized Catholic, went to church up until I was 7, 8 anyways. Stopped going just because my mom didn't want to force anything on us. And then I kind of was just like, yo, like God, like I think you're pretty important. Why I haven't even like thought of you or whatever. Anyways, and then that's actually when things got really bad for me and stuff like that. But then as I started looking more into the Christian faith and praying more and stuff like that, I started having just like really like radical encounters with like God. I remember like struggling with like sleep paralysis and just seeing like a light and it going away, and just experiencing the Holy Spirit for the first time and stuff like that. And this is really when I realized, like, oh, this is what I'm missing. Like, my identity shouldn't be in the gym. It shouldn't be in something fleeting, right? We know in Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, who had everything the world could offer, explained chasing things of the world to chasing the wind. And that's exactly how I felt. I was chasing temporary things like a good physique versus pursuing the Lord, who we know is the Prince of Peace. So yeah, continuing my faith walk probably into like sophomore year of college, I started becoming a big fan of Alex Eubank. I'm sure many of you know him if you're into fitness. He has one of the greatest physiques ever in the fitness industry. He was known as like aesthetics and stuff like that. But he actually shared his testimony about struggling with things I was struggling with, such as like derealization and anxiety. And seeing someone who I looked up to so much struggle with the same things as me, but he got out on the other side of it, really gave me hope and realized, like, if God can do that for him, if God could heal him, he could do it for me. And truly, that's what happened. So next part of this story, again, happened in the shower. I don't know why. Weird stuff with the Lord. That sounds really weird. But anyways, so I remember praying in the shower one night and just thanking God for my health, for my body, right? Because I started to realize, like, working out is not just for the way you look, it's to actually be healthy, right? And 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 to 20 talks about how our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit that dwells in us, that our body is not ours, that it was bought at a price, meaning that we should take care of our bodies and all that. Anyway, so I was just praying like a gratitude prayer. And I get out of the shower and I see Alex Eubank started following me. And I forgot to mention a little bit about freshman year. I started posting like gym content and I had like a couple thousand followers. But yeah, he started following me. I started like freaking out. I was like, no way. Like, this is like one of my, like, I don't like to use the word idols, but truly, yeah, someone I really looked up to. And I saw he followed me. I was like, that's crazy. I ended up getting like a code with his gym brand Elysium. And then I got to actually take a trip with my buddy. My dad took us, shout out to my dad. And it was in Philadelphia. I got to meet him, take a picture with him. And this was like truly a miracle. Like, I knew only God could have done this, that I went from being on the floor, like couldn't eat after falling into depression. I lost over like 20 pounds or whatever, to finally feeling good, feeling gratitude, and meeting one of like my heroes in the fitness space. And it was just a crazy turn of events of what God did in my life in a span of like not even a year and a half, 2 years. At this point, I started posting content because when I was kind of down and out, just feeling anxious or depressed, I kind of just stopped caring. That's a common symptom when you're struggling with those things. But I had always wanted to post content. I remember posting like a TikTok during high school, and I like took it down, and it got like everyone like made fun of me for it but I started posting like some fitness content, and this is when I hit like 10K, and that's when I met Alex. Now I think I've got like close to 40K. Around sophomore year is also when I switched my major. So I was a marketing major and I decided to switch it to kinesiology because I am so passionate about fitness, exercise science. So I figured, why not study what I'm actually interested in instead of doing something that I hate? Come junior year, it was either spring or winter break, I got my NASM personal trainer certification, and I finally got hired as a personal trainer to make money doing what I love, helping people reach their fitness goals, feeling better physically, whether they're trying to lose weight, gain weight. Obviously, I'm very experienced in gaining weight. I've gained over 60 pounds. Like I said, I was 125 pounds. Now I'm about 180. And I'm looking to compete in bodybuilding as well. So that's kind of just my passion. So that's my story about being a 5'11", 125-pound kid to being 6 foot, roughly 180 pounds, and helping others achieve their goals. I want to be fully transparent. I am selling an online course that can be found in my description of this video, but I can't stand seeing people online selling like scam courses or mentorships or coaching you on how to coach or just stuff like that. Like, I genuinely know what it's like to be that skinny kid and just wanting to change my life. And that's exactly what I did. And I want to help other people do the same exact thing, because that's what I really feel like God is calling me to do, is just serve people in that way and just inspiring others. And again, just helping you reach your goal. If you are interested, click the link. If you're not, that's totally fine as well. I'm going to be giving away free game on how to go from skinny to jacked and gain that confidence you've always been looking for.